Grandmaster. So on that first video I got 1 out of 3 on the last attempts, so I'm hoping this time it goes a little bit better. Okay, so this is the next position. Oh yeah, and by the way, I'm going to keep the correct and incorrect scores from now on. So however long the series goes on for, I'm just going to keep it up. I didn't keep the first time because I already had some counter on it. I didn't want to make it look different than it was from when I started, if that makes sense. Okay, so let's look at material count. So black has 3 pawns on the queen side. So extra 2 pawns, 3 pawns. I have 2 pawns on my left, on the queen side. Okay, so a rook. I have a rook, they have a rook, queen, knight, and bishop. So the only difference is that they have an extra pawn. So first we gotta look for checks here. I can sacrifice the queen, but that doesn't do much. This king takes. Queen check here as well on e6. Knight would just take. Okay, so only 2 checks with the queen that don't seem to do anything right now. I have a knight check as well. Seems a little interesting because only the queen could take. It's actually pinned. The bishop actually pinned here. So this might just be. It might just have something to do with rook e8 because the queen can't take because knight f6 check, and I pick up the queen. Or that's a rook and a knight for a queen. Okay, well let me just think about the whole way through. So rook e8, if the queen takes, knight f6 check, king f7, knight takes queen, king takes queen. Oh, but then I would have queen to c8 check, and I pick up the rook. But obviously he's not forced to take the rook after rook e8. So rook e8. I mean, even after something like queen d7, knight f6 comes again. Okay. You can't play queen d6. Queen c7. I have queen checks here. But then that's queen f7, so you're just blocking there. Oh, you know what? After rook e8, if queen goes anywhere, like c7, knight f6 check. Let's say the king comes to h7, I give another. No, king can't go to h7. King has to come to h8, I have queen check, and that would pick up at least the bishop. I don't really see black having any checks, even on something like d1. So rook e8 might be the answer. Let me just make sure. Rook e8. You can't come d6. You can go to d5, but then knight f6 once again. d3 seems the most testing. So queen d3. So rook e8, queen d3, knight f6 check. You can go either king f7 or king h8. After king h8, queen h5 check. The knight can't block because it's pinned. You could block with the queen, but I just take it because the knight's on f6 in this variation. Okay, so rook e8, queen d3, knight f6 check, king f7 is another one I need to check out. After that, queen to e6 check, king g6. Then I at least have a discovery. That's hard to say if it picks up a piece or anything. It does get the king out of safety. But I think to get the most out of these problems, it's best to continue with the variations and not guess. Okay, so rook e8, queen d3, queen e6, check, king h7. Okay, so still knight f6 looks better. Knight f6 still looks better. Okay, so if king, so calculate all the variations through. So rook e8, queen d3, knight f6 check, king f7. I want to play queen h5. The problem with that is I was thinking knight g6 would just block it. Rook e8, queen d3, queen e6 check. I mean knight f6 check, king f7, queen e6 check, king g6. Knight g4 check looks good. Oh yeah, queen, knight g6 looks good. Because I don't see anywhere for the king to go except back to h7. Then how am I mating though? Okay, so I'd play queen f5 check. So now you're forced to either h8 or g8, but it's like the same thing then. If you go back to g8, it's like a circle almost. Okay, there's something. I feel like I'm on the right track. I'm just missing the key part of it. Okay, rook e8, queen d3, knight f6 check, king f7, queen. Oh, queen e6 doesn't even work. I've been wasting my time on that because the knight can just take the queen. Okay, rook e8, queen d3, knight f6 check, king f7. Okay, I can also, okay, rook e8, queen d3. Okay, rook takes knight check, king takes knight, queen checks, king up somewhere, then queen takes rook. So then, with check again. So then I have the two pieces, I'd have a knight for the pawn, and I have some tempos left. So that kind of looks like the best answer, so let's go with that. Okay, let me check one more time. Rook e8, queen d3, knight f6 check. No. Okay, rook e8, queen d3, rook takes knight. This bishop's pinned, so only the king can take. Queen c8 check, and I pick up the rook with check again. Okay, let's go for that. Okay, queen d3 like expected. So now rook takes knight, king takes, queen c8. I'm going to pick up the rook. And it all comes with check, so it seems very forcing. Alright, everything was correct, my assessment. Okay, so next problem. Okay, so, okay, I'm in check this time. So I have to either move, block, or attack the queen. I can't attack the queen, obviously. So that's just out of the picture. I can't calculate that. So all I can do is block or move my king. So I have 2 blocking options and 2 moving options. So if I block with the F rook on F2, then I was thinking that rook C1 check would come, but I would just take that with my queen. Okay, so that isn't actually as bad as it looked at first. Okay, so if I blocked with the F2 rook, they could also play rook queen checks on D1, and then king would come up here. And then I don't actually see any more forcing checks for the queen actually. This knight could check, but then pawn takes, and even if queen checks here, then queen and knight are protecting it. So this variation actually looks a lot better than I first thought it did. If I do rook over here, then I really don't see me having any more threats. Especially since I have a mating threat here. Okay, so this rook to f2, queen checks. Well, yeah, queen checks. King g, king up here. You really don't have any more checks left, but you can play this rook to h8. Okay, and it'd be interesting because I'd have knight e8 check. Assuming you took with either rook. So if you took with this rook, then queen checks, you come to either g8 or f8. And since this knight isn't here, this rook wouldn't be here. It would be queen takes f7 with mate. And then if you took with this other rook here, again it'd be queen checks here, you're forced to g8 or f8. And then I would want to play queen takes f7. Okay, but again, maybe you're not forced to move or take, maybe you're not forced to take the knight, maybe you can move after it checks. Okay, so we're starting the whole variation again. Queen d1 checks, king g1, no, sorry, rook f2, queen d1, king g2, and rook comes to h8, knight e8 check. So some of the other variations where you get mated, let's say you played king g8 here. Well, then that would be rook takes the rook. Your knight can't take because it's still pinned because the king's on g8 in this variation. So you take with the king. I play queen checks. You go g8. I checkmate you on g7 because my queen here on g7 is protected by my knight on e8. Okay, so another variation where the rook's still in h8 is rook takes. Wait. Okay, knight on e8 checks. King comes to f8. So f8 instead. Okay, so if the king's on f8, I have rook takes rook, knight takes rook, queen checks. You can't come to g8 because again that'd be g7 mate. So let's say you take this knight, I grab your knight, check. You come to d7. But I have a queen and a rook versus your queen and a rook, which doesn't seem to go anywhere. Okay, so again, knight e8, king f8 looks like the only variation that's stopping me. Any other checks? No, wait, okay, it's interesting. Okay, so knight e8 check, king f8. Rook takes, knight takes, queen g7 check, but then king e8. I can't take this f7 pawn because the knight's still protecting it. Fortunately. Okay, what if I tried king g2 instead? You have rook here, so that's not pleasant. Okay, so again, rook f2. Okay, rook h8 immediately instead. What about that? Or no, let me go back to the variation I was having troubles with. There's no reason to go to other variations where you think it might be easier. If you see a variation that's really hard, then you have to try to figure that one out, because that one might be the one thing that's stopping your solution from being great. Okay, so rook f2, queen d1 check, king g2, rook h8, knight e8 check, king f8, oh, knight e8 check, king f8, and instead of worrying about this rook taking rook, maybe I can just do rook takes pawn and sacrifice my my rook here. So you're almost obligated to, well, you can either take this rook or the knight. So let's say taking the rook, because that seems like the most dramatic one to take. Okay, so then queen checks on f6. If you come to e8, I'm taking this knight. You can move to e7, but then I'm checking you, and then you come to d7, I'm checking you again, you come down, that's rook takes, and then I'm winning this rook at least. I'm probably the game at that point. Okay, so again, after knight e8, checking f8, rook takes f7, king takes f7, queen checks. You go to e8, I'm taking this knight with tempo, with check. If you take this knight over here, I can't automatically mate you on e7 because your knight's still protecting. Knights are really good defenders against queen mating threats. Typically. Knight e8, rook takes f7, king takes the knight. I can play rook takes rook, check. If your knight takes the rook, that's queen e7, mate. So after rook takes here, you have you can take the rook back here, but I would check you with my rook on h7. Deflecting you pretty much. And then if you come to e7, queen f6 is mate. If you come to g8, that's queen takes g6, that's going to lead to mate. If you come to f7, I mean f8, that's queen checks. Come to e8, check you on f7, and then d7 is mate. So this variation looks pretty good. So let's check one more time. Oh right, I have to check the other variation now. Okay, so rook f2. Let's say you keep your queen here. There's no reason to do d1 check, because you realize you have no other checks at this point. So if rook f2, rook h8 immediately. It seems like it might be the same exact thing, because after knight e8 check, your queen, on whether it's on d1 or d4, it doesn't seem to have much impact. Okay, so that being said, rook f2, rook h8, knight e8 check. Yeah, looks like it's winning, so let me try it. Okay, it says good move, try again. Okay, so king h1 seems to accomplish the same thing, it seems. Okay, so king h1, let me just make sure that they can't play rook h8 check with any kind of tempo. King h1, so king h1, rook h8, knight e8 check. Yeah, it looks like it's fine. Let's see. Okay. So knight e8 check. Now rook takes f7. Okay, great. On the right path so far. Queen f6 check. As I was going for before. Okay, so that's not completely right. Okay, so let's start calculating again. Rook takes h8, and then you give me a bunch of checks, probably mating me. So whatever I play here should be, is likely going to be a check. Okay, so knight d6 check. King e7. Well, now I would just take queen takes pawn here. I think it's really complicated. I feel like my solution's easier than what the computer could have came up with. But that's why ChessTempo was a really good site, because you have to find more complicated ways of winning sometimes. Just helps your calculations. Okay. Okay, so queen checks, queen takes e8. So I can't do that again. Okay, queen. It checks. Okay, so knight checks. The only option is e6. I can play queen f6 check here. You come to d7. Knight d6. You come to e6. Wow, this is really difficult now. Like my solution, I was thinking about queen f6 check. It seems so simple. Even something like e6 check looks interesting, but after king takes, queen takes, knight with check, you can move back, and then I still have some problems with the knight. Because every one of my moves has to come with check, I'm guessing. Because if I don't keep checking, then they're going to check me and probably mate, so that just gets really complicated. Queen f6 check. King takes e8. No, that doesn't work. Why do I keep going back to that? Okay, e6 check or knight d6 check. After knight d6 check, king e6, queen checks. King goes to d7. Okay, knight d6 check, king e6, queen takes knight. King d7. Queen checks. And that should be... Okay, so knight d6 check, queen e6, king e6 I mean. Queen takes knight. With check. If king takes pawn, queen checks. You can take my knight because I take your queen. You come... Well, you will lose your queen then, at that point. Because this knight's still protecting this pawn here. I mean this point on e4, so you can't protect your queen. So d7 would be played. Your queen checks. If you go to c7... Wait, okay. So knight d6, king e6, queen takes knight. King d7, queen checks. You're either blocking your rook from coming down with check, so this looks really good. So let's go knight d6 check. Okay, so now queen takes knight check. Okay, alternative again. Okay, so the only check is with queen f6. Unless queen g4 check. I also play queen here, actually. Oh wait, that's almost me. Okay, so queen f5. This is like a pattern that I usually don't see. Queen f5 check. King e7. Queen f7 check. You're forced to d8, and then I have knight takes b7, and that's just mate. Okay, queen f7 check, one square, and then knight takes b7 is mate. Okay, so really a tough problem. Okay, so next one. Okay, so looking at this problem, looks like they're threatening me about... Well, they're doing my queen first of all. Rook takes e2 is interesting because after that, if you take my queen, I take your queen, and then your knight and your rook are both under attack. And then again, you can move just to d6 or something, and then it's like, how am I winning at that point? Yeah, so if you calculate like a variation and it seems like it's just the equal variation at that point, then it's probably wrong. Unless there's like an attack. Okay, so queen takes rook, king takes, then king takes knight. And you probably just have perpetuals though. That doesn't seem like it'd be the right answer. Okay, does my opponent have any weak points in this position? I have queen takes f8, that's check. But then two rooks on the passed pawn, but then he has a passed pawn, and I'm not even sure if I can escape all the checks. Yeah, queen takes pawn looks interesting. Because after rook takes, rook f7, queen could take, and then your queen's still being attacked. But then again, you do have check. You have d5. I have queen up. No, actually, I would just take your knight at that point. Okay, so queen takes pawn. That's interesting, but queen d5 check. King takes knight. And let's say you play rook h8 check. So I can't. I don't have a way back, which is pretty interesting. And then if I play g4, then queen f5 is actually mate. So rook takes pawn instead. So if I do queen takes pawn, queen checks. I have the option of block. So it doesn't seem that good though. Okay, rook takes pawn. Queen d6. Then you ask me how am I winning here. Maybe I just play queen to e5. Well, there's probably a way to trap the knight actually, because it only has like two good square, or one good square really to go to. So after rook takes pawn, maybe you play queen here, I just take the queen, I take the knight. Then again, if you play like something like queen d6, well, and queen g5 actually looks good then. Because then how am I getting this pawn or the knight? Actually, I'd have queen e3. I'm attacking the queen and this pawn again. Rook takes pawn. Queen g5. Queen e3. Rook checks. Yeah, that doesn't look good. It does not look pleasant. Because after rook checks, if I take this knight and queen h5 check, that's just mate. Rook takes pawn, then queen g5 is really testing. Okay, so instead of that, maybe just queen here, queen to well, this probably actually looks like more about defending than attacking, because I'm already up an exchange. I should have counted material first. That was an amateur mistake. Okay, this problem seems more about defending than attacking, because I already have a rook for a knight. Only difference is that the pawns are weird. So it seems like if I can just avoid any knight forks, that this should be completely winning. So after rook takes pawn, queen g5, maybe just queen e4, even after knight checks me. I just move to h1, and then black doesn't really have anything good to do here. The knight's being attacked, this pawn's being attacked. Okay, let's go for that. Okay, so alternate try again. Okay, so queen takes pawn, looks like it might just do the same thing. So maybe it's queen takes pawn. Because before I was like, if he goes to d6, then they can ask what am I doing, but at the same time I'm up unexchanged. So queen takes pawn. Yeah, okay, and that was right. Okay, so again, king takes knight doesn't work because rook h8, and then king g4, and then queen f5 is mate. So it looks like if I just block, that I should be fine. Because if I block, you check me here. I can play king takes knight. Even after queen h5 check, I can play queen here. Then you play queen here, I block. Rook takes pawn here, king takes, and then you take my queen. So after queen here, rook checks me here. Maybe I'm just better off playing king h1, but that's fine because the rook here is stopping knight f2 check and then winning the queen. So let's go with that. Again, king takes knight, then queen checks here. Queen block, queen f5 check, queen g4, rook takes pawn, king takes, and then queen takes queen. I'm losing. So again, I believe after king h1 I should be safe. And that was wrong. Okay, so king takes knight. And then do they have any follow-up suggestions? Queen h5 check. So I saw that. Okay, I didn't see this part. So instead of queen blocking again, losing the queen, pawn push to check, You block. Okay, so you are losing the queen eventually, but they're thinking you're gonna get a another queen, which is much more than I would have ever calculated. Even if I was like given an hour on this. That's pretty interesting. So you're gonna sacrifice the queen at this point. I would think you could have done it earlier, but I guess not. Okay. Okay, so interestingly enough, the reason my King H1 wasn't correct according to Droidfish engine was actually I have a Rook F1 check, which is surprising to me because after I take here, Queen can just take Queen because it's no longer defending. So obviously I can go back to G2, but after Rook F2, the position just became the same one again. So that's automatic failure. Okay, so if you enjoyed the content, please subscribe. Thank you.